Aye, here we go, a new reaction. Alright, so I like this chap. The chap that is there, where is it? Right on top. This chap over here. Runs a channel called Diary of a CEO. Pretty good channel, generally speaking. He's young. Well, he's not young anymore. He's already 300 years old and obviously should have about 4 kids. I don't think he has any. Sometimes he talks about how he is going to have them eventually. Yada, yada. The usual excuses. This chap is more successful, financially speaking, presumably in life, than I will ever be. Arguably. He fails, like I said, slightly in the whole making a family department, but he's now talking to 2 experts. We've got a lady, where's my finger? There, all the way on the left. She's a bit mental. And then we've got this chap over here, who's a bit of a loser. He admits it himself. Now, at this point, they're going to say a few things, and I want to react to this. Just before this woman, the woman over there, said that the boys aren't treated with kindness and empathy. Proving beyond reasonable doubt that whenever you get a woman to opine on how young men need to be raised, it's just going to be very sad, isn't it? You know, nothing, lady. The way men are raised is by hitting eternal walls and learning how to knock them down or walk around them. Men deal with difficulties all the time, deal with rejection all the time. Now, with that said, in the environment in which they are brought up, generally speaking nowadays, I will agree with her that the world is not set up for them. It's set up for somebody else. I don't actually even know who it's set up for. I don't think for humans. But for boys in particular, it's absolutely woeful. Right? Therefore, the answer is we now need to start caring about them. Whereas all the boys want is not to be cared about at all. They want to be able to grow free. Of course, when they're little, they're not able to articulate this or to understand it. And it's the job of the parents, both mother and father, so we're clear, to turn the boy independent. Anyway, so now there's going to be a few questions, a few things, and I'm going to probably lose my mind in a moment. So let's listen.
What do we do about that? And like, where are the fathers?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah, where are the fathers? Where are they going?
Well, it's
I'll tell you what, they're children now. The amount of 30 to 40-year-olds that I have met that go like, yeah, you know, I have a dog, then maybe, you know, a bit later, maybe I'm going to have kids. You're retarded. It's just silly.
it's complicated. There's male abandonment. There's just no getting around it. But also going back to
Huh? You can't state something like that and just sort of walk from it. What do you mean? What does that mean? What is male abandonment? At what age? Are we abandoning 3-year-olds? I don't think that's happening. In fact, they probably wish they would be abandoned.
family courts. Sometimes the courts in the our economy make it difficult for a man to stay involved in the kids' lives, and also.
The amount of lies is spectacular. Sorry, carry on.
Family court's getting better at saying, all right, the kids. I mean, just a personal anecdote.
Let's go.
I have a friend who recently has gone through divorce, 2 daughters.
Why? Why is he going through divorce with 2 daughters? What happened? Obviously, this won't be touched on because...
Very much wants to be involved in their lives.
Oh, suddenly he woke up, did he?
They're 13 and 15-year-old girls, and quite frankly, dad's there on the weekends, and they got their own thing going on.
Dad wants to be involved with his 13 and 15-year-old girls, but they have got their own thing going on. Well, yeah, they're almost adults, man. Also, you spent your entire life turning females into men, so that's what happens, right? They're gonna grow up, and they're not gonna care about you as a parent for obvious reasons. You were never there. You are their chauffeur, bruh. And now, on Saturday, you're their daycare. And their wallet. You're valueless as a parent. It's normal. We'll find out in a second why.
And they don't necessarily make dad a priority. And dad's not around for what I call the garbage time. And that is what I found with my boys.
Why is dad not around for garbage time? Why? I do wonder. It just gets the noggin jogging, doesn't it? I don't know why dad's not around for the garbage time. I can't picture it.
Is the moments of serendipity and connection happen randomly when you're taking them to school.
When you're taking them to school. When you chauffeur them around. For that's what you do. As a parent. I have no idea how governments and communism have convinced parents to give up on their children from an insanely tender age so that you can get them re-educated by the machinery. And then you wonder, I don't get enough garbage time with my children. This is the experts. I mean, the more stereotypically traditional man would say this lacks common sense. But lacks a sense at all. It's religious. These people are zealots. They're all priests. They're all operating from fundamental dogmas that are impossible to question. You can't question that you must take your children to school. I mean, this fella is being interviewed by Diary of a CEO. This fella is not going to be a poor fella. Right? This fella makes money. Okay, good. So if he's got enough money, how in the bloody world is he not finding a way to work and educate his children without having to take them to school? Why school? I mean, the internet is free information, man. It's everywhere. I'm being educated right now by this dumbbell over here. I'm sure he has 3 PhDs. Congratulations. I don't have enough garbage time with my children, Sometimes it happens serendipitously when they're playing Angry Birds or whatever it is that children do nowadays when they're surfing Instagram while in the back of the car, as I chauffeur them to school. Wow.
When you're out in the back, jumping around or playing whatever it is, these garbage moments. And when you're not in the household, for whatever reason, there's just...
Oh, for whatever reason. For whatever reason. You are at work somewhere. Your wife is at work somewhere else. Apparently both of you need to earn so much that I'm not sure what you're trying to afford. Epstein's Island one day? I'm not sure. Anyway, and your children are yet in another place. Your house is empty. Wowzers. Just not, for whatever reason. For your choices, you end of a bell. I'm not supposed to swear. Don't swear, Mike. Stay calm.
There isn't that much garbage time. And I think slowly but surely they lose sometimes connection with their...
Sometimes. You leave home at, say, 8 a.m. Okay? You have seen your children, right, whatever age they are, between, let's say, 7:30, and then you will see them until 8:30, which is the duration of your commute to whatever school you're taking them to. So that's the 1 hour in which you spend time with them. From that point on, the day is fairly long. You are not going to see your children until 6 or 7 p.m. So that's approximately 12 hours after. 11, whatever it is. So, 7 p.m., bring them back home. 7:30, have dinner. 8, they go do whatever it is that they do. Play Fortnite on their console, whatever it is that they do. Good night, done. So you spend the time with the most important people in your life. 2 hours a day. And then the weekend comes, and, the kids don't know you, man. You don't matter to them. If you had a healthy world in which you lived, the weekends the kids would be perfectly happy to not care about you in a different way, because they'd go like, I've hung out with my parents all the time, we see each other all the time, we can converse and whatever. Let me go and hang out with my friends who are available on a Saturday and a Sunday, or whatever. Your entire life is stupid, dude. That's why you're so depressed. Look at your face. Look at you. Must be rough, must be, to be so intelligent and understand nothing.
Kid, there's something weird going on. I'm curious, Logan, if you've got data on this, but
Without data, fellas and fillettes, we go nowhere. Nowhere without data. The data is necessary. Let's ask Logan, whoever she is. Why are you called like a man? I don't know what's happening.
you have a 1-year-old daughter, right? You're going to be amazed when my unfortunate boy had a Halloween party. And the boys are like cute. They're dopes. They're boys. There's some 14-year-old girls who look like they could be the junior senator from Pennsylvania.
I have boys and I have girls. And the boys do mature more slowly than girls. But the boys can become eloquent too. You just gotta work differently with them. You would know if you spent any time with them. But you don't, because you don't.
They're 5'10". They're articulate. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Galloway. How are you? What a lovely home. And the boys are like, I don't know. And biologically, girls mature faster. Mm-hmm. They're
But the boys need to be. Because the boys are. Your wife tells you about the list that you need to go get the groceries, and your brain just wants to leave the room and figure out how flying must work for birds and just jump out the window. Or she starts talking to you about the curtains that we need to buy this month. It's normal. This is boring. Us guys, we want to do cool things. That's what life is about. Administrative stuff, accounting, politeness. This is dull. That's why we do things and don't talk about things. Not as much, at least.
Frontal cortex is 18 months ahead of a boy's. An 18-year-old girl or woman is competing against a 16-and-a-half-year-old when she's competing against an 18-year-old. And they're even finding that it's getting worse, that women or girls are starting to menstruate earlier and boys...
Okay. Easy. See, when you're going to start spouting your data, okay, we actually need to go into the interpretation realm, because you just essentially said that the girls are biologically more advanced, generally speaking, at a certain age. Congratulations for discovering hot water, by the way. And what happens then is that this is actually becoming more demarcated, which might mean that this is not fixed. This actually changes over time for whatever reason. There's a bunch of elements in there. I'll tell you one thing the boys are missing: mentors. And by mentors, I don't mean teachers. Jaded women that do nothing with their lives. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a fella with a hammer that teaches your son how not to hit himself in the thumb with his hammer. Lift this, move this, da-da-da. Fellas, you know, as fellas, we do things. We make things with our hands. Well, in my case, with my brain, which is a bit sad, but there you go.
Testicles are descending later. So the gap in maturity, biological gap, they think might even be growing, and they don't know if it's pesticides. But when
It might well be pesticide, my friend, but one of the factors, and you're not prepared to hear this, is your stupid bald head. It's you, man. Because of the garbage time you don't have with your kids. And by garbage time, of course, I mean life.
meet my 8th graders' colleagues, there's a huge difference between between the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
And Richard's...
Oh, that was supposed to be a joke, was it? Wow.
One of Richard's suggestions is that we redshirt boys, that we hold them a year back. The boys start kindergarten at 6, whereas girls start at 5.
Let me give you a completely different suggestion. How about kindergarten is struck from existence and we'd never, ever put any children of any sex in kindergarten? Have you even considered this in your religious mind? Because I don't think you have. Because the dogma is they need to go to kindergarten. Kindergarten. 4, 5, These are the ages you're talking about. So at 4, your toddler, because they are a toddler essentially graduating to a little child, okay, is likely barely figuring out how to run properly without bumping into things. This is an incredibly young mind, male or female. Okay, not to mention that all of them are different. Well, I suppose I'll mention it. Sorry, I do apologize about the cliche, but mentioning indeed the fact that all children are totally different. These are totally different people. One learns in one way, one learns in another. One really doesn't like to sit still. One really is happy to sit still and focus on one particular task for a very long time. One's left-handed, one's right-handed. It's a mess. It's really complex. It's really complex. School is it's obvious, and the same goes for kindergarten, even worse so, is they are such inadequate structures to educate your kids. All school does is remove the child from the family unit. And then you wonder, Dr. Clever Forehead here, why your kid doesn't care about your existence and you have no rapport with them and you're essentially not a father. Because you aren't. You have delegated the existence of your children to others. I have no freaking idea why you've done it. I don't think you have any idea why you've done it. And I mean this very, very technically, right? I don't think you know because you've never sat down to think about it. And now you're saying the experts are saying perhaps we should send the boys to school later. Oh, the experts. These are the experts. You understand? These are people that, like, I mean, you know, you'd splash them in the face and it would have to run a study in figuring out why their face is wet. That is mental, man. How in the world can you say something this stupid? And, you know, clearly meaning to believe it. Look at that solemn face. He's very serious. And she's going, yeah, maybe, yeah. The study shows this and that and the other. You've all abandoned your kids. I don't know. I don't even know how you argue with these people. I don't need any studies. Don't need any studies at all. Take responsibility for raising your children. So that then, if they blame you and hate you, you'll know it was your fault. As opposed to what happens to most people when you get hated by your teenager and you have no idea why, because you're too stupid to figure out. It's called child abandonment. Remember this fella said, male abandonment, congratulations, is what you're doing with your children. And on the zinger, goodbye.